Hey guys, over the last 10 years of maintaining our YouTube channel and posting videos on YouTube, probably one of the most frustrating things about dealing with YouTube has been them constantly moving the goalposts and changing the rules. And some people will argue that it's their website and they can do that, and that's fair enough. But the way they present our relationship to us is that we are partners, that we're YouTube partners and we're YouTube creators and all that sort of stuff. The way they word it, as if we have some sort of professional relationship, some sort of professional business relationship. So from that point of view, it's very frustrating, because usually when you do business with people, if they change the rules, you know, if you have a relationship, you usually make your agreement about how you're going to conduct yourself, and that's how you conduct yourself, you know, whatever sort of agreement you've made. So it's frustrating when they're constantly changing the rules and changing the goalposts, you know. So the latest one is, as most of you know, they disabled tens of millions of videos, the comments on tens of millions of videos at the beginning of the year, and we sent lots of emails to partner support or creator support or whatever they call themselves, and all we got back was cut and paste explanations about how they've disabled comments on tens of millions of videos to protect the children from pedophiles, right? And they made it quite clear there was nothing that we'd done wrong, there's nothing wrong with our videos. It was the commenters. There's some commenters that are pedophiles, and it's because of them. So it seems to be fairly random. It's obviously some algorithm thing, and there's lots of videos run by kids, lots of the big YouTuber families, you know, the ones where it's all about the family, mum, dad and the kids. They don't seem to have any problems. Our videos have hardly any children in them at all, and we've got the problem. So they did that, and then sorry, this is a bit disjointed, guys. We're all a bit phased at the moment, but so then we were told by a guy, and we'll get back to him in a minute, but we were told by a guy that we should apply for a partner manager, and if we have a partner manager, they'll help us solve all our problems, right? So we looked into that, and they accepted applications for people. If you have a channel that has more than 100,000 subscribers, you could apply for a partner manager, and it said that they're accepting applications in March. Was it March? And it had just gone into April. We just missed out, and it said the next one was going to be September. So we've been telling you guys since April, we've been telling you guys that in September, you know, we're going to apply for a partner manager, and with a bit of luck, that'll solve all our problems, right? And we have actually looked at that page a few times in the last few months, in the last few weeks actually, because we're getting ready to do it, and we wanted just to check and find out what was required, you know. And it just basically said that you needed 100,000 subscribers and you could apply for a partner manager. So anyway, today is the 1st of September in Japan. So we jumped on the website, okay, partner manager, brought up the page, and it had been a button in there, and it said apply for partner manager, and you click the button, and it's gone. And then read the text there, and it says that, first of all, it has a whole page telling you how great it is to have a partner manager, and how a partner manager can help you build your channel and can help you deal with YouTube and can do all these wonderful things for you. There's a whole page telling you how wonderful it is to have a partner manager, how it'll change your life. And then at the bottom, now it says, and they must have just changed this in the last couple of days, now it says that you can only get a partner manager by invitation. So if you are eligible, you will receive an invitation to have a partner manager. So we already have 105,000 subscribers, and the guideline said it was 100,000 required, and we've had over 100,000 subscribers all year, while we've been begging for help from the creator support people to get our comments re-enabled, and nobody has invited us to have a partner manager, and nobody's helped us at all. So basically, we've been hanging everything on that. You know, as we kept saying to you guys, oh, if we can get a partner manager that might solve it, they might help us solve it and get our comments turned back on. And actually, it's probably a good time to tell you too. There was a guy that contacted us, a big YouTuber who's in Japan, who contacted us, and he's a decent guy. He's a decent guy, and he contacted us, and he spends time in a Tokyo office at their creator place, and he's very skilled diplomat and very skilled at getting on with people, and so he told me earlier in the year that if I promise to not criticize YouTube publicly ever again, that we could get a partner manager who would solve all our problems, right? Guaranteed, he said. Guaranteed we'll get a partner manager, solve all your problems, and that'll be the end of all your problems, you know? Just don't criticize YouTube publicly anymore. And because our reaction was, what? What? You're telling us we can't express our opinions on YouTube publicly without getting penalized, you know? And yeah, basically, yes, that's what he said. He said, yep, if you want a partner manager and you want your problems to be solved, and because he's in there, he spends time in there in the Tokyo office of Google, talking to these guys, so he knows what they're about, he knows what they do, and he said that, you know, no, you have to promise that you won't publicly criticize YouTube anymore, and then they'll give you a partner manager and they'll solve all your problems, right? Which was just unbelievable at the time. You know, it took a couple of days to absorb that. It was like, wow, to hear actually someone say, because a lot of people have conspiracy theories about why we've had so many problems, and we've always gone, no, it's just algorithms. But when you hear someone actually say, you know, basically no one's going to help you unless you don't criticize YouTube anymore, you know, it was a bit of a surprise. So we gave him an undertaking. Okay, yeah, we will promise not to publicly criticize YouTube anymore. However, we need to be able to explain to our viewers what is going on with YouTube. So we will maintain that we can still tell our viewers what is going on with YouTube without publicly criticizing them. That's exactly what this video is. It's telling you guys exactly what's happening, and so, you know, since we were told that, we've been very careful what we've said about YouTube to try and stay just telling you guys what's happening without being critical. And being as sort of, you know, non-confrontational as possible, you know, and with the promise that we'd be getting a partner manager who would solve all our problems, you know. And I mean, really, we've only got one problem at the moment, and that's the comments are turned off, and that's killing the channel. You know, our viewer counts have plummeted. Because in the old days, we'd get new viewers all the time. Someone would see an old video from 10 years ago, and then they'd watch another one, and they'd leave a comment, and other people would respond to them, and then they'd leave more comments. And then suddenly we start seeing that person regularly, because they're watching all our videos, you know? And that sort of stuff's just not happening so much now, because, you know, people see the comments are disabled. What's with this channel with the disabled comments? And they just move on. You know, so our viewer numbers have plummeted. The small income we get from YouTube plummeted. We've lost patrons from Patreon. It's just, you know, it's killing us basically. We got all these people that we were communicating with quite a lot, you know, regularly for the last 10 years. Obviously, you know, lots of people we just don't hear from anymore because they can't leave comments. So all we could do is, and all we can do, is we post every video every day on Facebook, and then people have been commenting on Facebook and discussing with each other there and so on. So that works. And also on Patreon, same thing. We post every video every day on Patreon, and people can comment on there. Just so disheartening. Those of you who've been with us for the last 10 years would know, you know, it just seems a year doesn't go by, you know. This year's this commenting thing. Last year they disabled our monetization totally for about 3 months because their system had found us guilty of copying videos. And of course, you know, it took 3 months for them to realise that none of our videos have been copied. All our videos are original. And after 3 months they turned our monetization back on, but that meant that, you know, the 3 months of income was just gone, which was equivalent to like a $400 penalty or something at the time, you know, because we only get about $100 a month from YouTube. You know, and again, that's a thing that's changed. You know, 10 years ago, for the amount of videos and views that we had, we would have been getting, you know, 10 times that. But over the years, they've slowly decreased it and decreased it and decreased it till it's, you know, about $100. But they sort of, you know, $400 is a lot of money to us, and it was just like, there's a penalty for you. And at the end of it, it was like, oh yeah, you're not guilty, but we still got the penalty anyway. They didn't reverse that. We never got our money. And it's just that they're constantly doing it. You know, over the years, constantly changing the rules, changing the setup, changing the way things are done. So it's just the way it is. You know, we should be used to it by now, but it's just disheartening. And with the last 6 months, we've been waiting for this partner manager, thinking we didn't want anything from them. We don't need to be we don't need them for anything. We don't need anything from them at all, except just to get the comments turned back on. That's what we were hoping the partner manager might be able to do for us. That they might be able to talk to the person in there who pushes the button. And because that's all it needs, you know, and we can't wait. If we just wait, well, we're going to have to now. Our thinking was that without the partner manager, chances are the comments will never be turned back on, because they've turned them off on tens of millions of videos. It's just not physically possible for them to go and check them all, is it? So we're fully aware of the fact that if a partner manager didn't turn our comments back on, that chances are they'd never be turned back on. So now we've got to get our head around the fact that that could be what's going to happen now, is that we'll just never get our comments turned back on. Because, you know, it sounds like, you know, whoever it is that decides who gets to have a partner manager has decided that we're not team players or something. You know, we dare to comment about YouTube publicly. Apparently seems to be a problem. So we've had this over the years too. Some of you might remember a long time ago, maybe 8 years ago or something, they actually gave away $1,000 gift vouchers, 10,000 yen, 100,000 yen gift vouchers. So $1,000 gift vouchers to one of the big electronic stores, and they gave them away pretty randomly. It seemed at the time they were giving them to channels that were smaller than ours, that had less subscribers and less viewers, and they were giving them to channels that were bigger than ours. So it just seemed to be, you know, if you'd been to their YouTube office in Tokyo and made friends with the people in there, that, you know, you get one of these $1,000 vouchers. And because what they were using them for is that YouTubers were using them to go and buy new cameras and things, you know. And of course we didn't get one then either, because we'd been publicly commenting about YouTube as well. So, you know, we've never been really good at sucking up. Sorry, this is what we've been calling it in our house. We've been calling it sucking up, because it's quite, you know, we said to the dude that gave the advice about if you don't publicly criticise YouTube, all these wonderful things will happen, said to him at the time, so basically we've got to hand our balls over to YouTube if we want to get reasonable treatment from them. And that's all we're wanting. We're not asking them for favours. We're not asking them for money or time or special treatment or anything at all. All we want is to have the penalty that's been placed on you guys, actually, because it's actually supposed to be a thing about the viewers' comments. So they've disabled you guys from commenting because they're worried that some of you might be pedophiles, apparently. I mean, that's what the system's saying, isn't it? You know, but they're basically penalising us for something that's never happened. We checked every comment on our videos for the last 10 years, right? We read every comment. And there's never been anything that's remotely resembled a pedophile comment. Who's going to watch a video with a fat old man in it and leave a pedophile comment? So there's never been a pedophile comment on any of our videos, but if ever there was a distasteful comment or an abusive comment or whatever, we deleted it straight away, as you guys know. So, you know, we haven't done anything wrong, and yet we're getting penalised for it. So we're not asking for any favours. All we're asking is that the penalty that's been given to us unjustly be removed. That's all we've asked for. In our whole 10 years with YouTube, that's all we've ever asked them for. You know, we've made 3,800 videos or whatever it is, and we've done everything that we've done off our own bat. They've never featured us, they've never done anything to help us, we've never asked them to do anything to help us at all. The only time we've ever contacted them has been to ask them to help us with penalties we've been given unfairly. And the reality is they've never helped us. You know, even the time where we lost our monetization for 3 months and then they finally reversed it, that wasn't because anyone in there decided to help us, that was just their system. You know, we filled out the thing that said that it appealed it, and then their system automatically reversed it when it found it was wrong, you know. So no one in there has ever gone, geez, we might help the Japan channel. No one's ever done that, you know, or we've never actually had a real email from anybody. All we ever get's the cut and pastes, you know. We sent the first few months that the comments were turned off, we must have sent more than a dozen emails saying please help us, please help us, please help us. And every time all we'd get is just a cut and paste saying, you know, to protect the children, comments on tens of millions of videos have been disabled. And then we'd write back and say, yeah, we know about that. What we're asking is, can you help us turn our comments back on? And then we'd get the same cut and paste. To protect the children, comments on tens of millions of videos have been disabled. So, you know, not much changes, does it? So, anyway. So look, guys, we're sort of getting our head around this at the moment, but all we can do is what we've been doing. We'll keep posting our videos. What's really scary is if ever we have a bigger problem than this, what's going to happen. And that's why we just, every time something like this happens with these guys, we trust them a little bit less. And basically we don't trust them at all. And that's why we're really worried that at some stage, if our channel ever gets shut down for any reason, that we'll never get it back up again. And so that's why we've got videos on Daily Motion, and that's our backup plan if YouTube ever gets shut down. Some people have said to us, oh, you should start another channel. We're not going to start again. We've spent 10 years building this channel up, and we're not going to start again, you know, building up another channel on YouTube. You know, there's something, you know, it's just not practical. It's just, we've got no interest in or motivation to do that. And to continue to do business with someone who treats us so badly, you know, it's like, no. If ever they shut our channel down, if ever one day we, you know, log on in the morning and our channel's gone, we'll just go to Daily Motion, because, you know, just they've burned us out basically. They've really burned us out, you know. So to be honest, we talked about this morning because it was like, oh, you got to be kidding. You know, we've been saying, oh, September soon, you know, we'll apply for the partner manager and, you know, we should be able to get it solved. And particularly after that dude, he knows, he spends a lot of time in that Tokyo, or he spends time in that Tokyo place, and he has a partner manager, right? And he actually said, oh, I'll talk to my partner manager and see if they can help you. And then he never got back to us again. So he's a bit of a clever player, you know. He probably knows, or he does know, that being associated with us is probably not good for his standing in there. So he tends to connect with people who are good for him, you know. So that's fair enough too. This isn't a criticism of him either. He actually said he just plays a game, and that's what he's doing. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to make friends with the right people and stay away from the wrong people. And, you know, he said he'd get his partner manager to help us. Nothing ever happened. So, you know, we'd sort of pinned our hopes that maybe they'd help us, but they're not. So we're sort of pretty disillusioned. So this morning, quite often when these things happen, it's like, oh, let's walk away. You know, let's do something else. You know, let's either just start posting on Daily Motion or just stop altogether. I mean, we love making the videos, we really do, but it's just so disheartening, you know. So look, again, what swayed the conversation this morning is Patreon, because that does help us. Does help us justify the time that we spend on it and the effort that we put into it, and constantly getting kicked in the nuts by YouTube What does make us feel better, and we come back to it all the time, is Patreon. You know, is that support that we get from the patrons on Patreon. You know, 184 people, 105,000 subscribers is great. You know, that's all well and good, but it's the 185 people on Patreon that are responsible for these videos getting made. If it wasn't for you guys, we would have shut down, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, probably. You know, or last year when they took away our monetization for 3 months, we definitely would have shut down then. Definitely would have shut down this morning. The way we were feeling this morning was like, oh, look, come on, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. And they didn't change that page until the last couple of days. So we're not the only ones. There would have been a whole heap of people who just got their 100,000 subscribers who've been hanging out. And this page goes on about how wonderful life is if you've got a partner manager. So there would have been a whole heap of people looking forward to having a partner manager, and then they go to apply today because it's September, and no, sorry, it's invitation only. Invitation only, and it doesn't say you need to have this, or this. It just says invitation only. Now, what's that mean? You know, you've got to be one of the in crowd, haven't you? You've got to be one of the people that they want, one of the desirables from their point of view, to be helped, to be given any sort of assistance. And the rest of us don't matter, do we? So look, guys, what we'd ask you, if you're on Patreon already, and you're one of the $1 or $2 a month people on Patreon, if you could consider stepping it up a bit, that'd be wonderful, because we have lost people since this nonsense with the commenting. We have lost people, and we're below our goal. So if you're only one of the $1 or $2 a month people, you can step it up. That'd be wonderful. If you're not on Patreon yet and you want to see our channel continue to make videos, then, you know, it'd be great to have you on board of Patreon, because it basically does, what I talked about this morning was that we don't need YouTube. If anything does, because our biggest fear with them is that we have a bigger problem and they don't help us. You know, we wake up and our channel is shut down and they don't help us. And we're talking about this morning, oh, well, if that happens, we'll just shift to Daily Motion. We've still got Facebook and Twitter and Patreon, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. You know, but again, that's only because of the patrons. If Patreon ever shut down, that'll be it then. we'd be walking away. We'd keep making videos and showing our friends and family in Australia, and that'd be it probably. You know, it's really only because of the patrons that we're continuing. So we love making the videos, don't get me wrong, but it's just the time and the effort. There's been 10 years of this every day, 365 days a year we are on YouTube. 365 days a year we're posting videos and on YouTube. Some of you remember, you know, I was on my back in hospital for 5 weeks, and every day I was on YouTube. Actually, no, it's not true. There was 2 days where I was unconscious, okay? So I wasn't on YouTube for 2 days, but one of our other family members was for those 2 days. But yeah, we've been on YouTube every day for the last 10 years, you know, and we put a lot of time into it, as you know, and, you know, that time is justified by our patrons and the support, and if it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't justify it, and we couldn't afford it. We just couldn't afford to do it financially. We couldn't afford to do it either. We just have to spend more time at work. So, you know, that'd be the end of it. So yeah, if you want to support us on Patreon, that does 2 things. That helps our channel to continue, and it raises the middle finger at YouTube, basically, because it makes us independent of them, and it makes us care a little bit less about how badly they treat us. That's not a criticism. We promised we wouldn't criticize YouTube. This is all just telling you guys what's happening. That's all it is. That's what we said we'd do. We said we wouldn't publicly criticize YouTube, but we would tell our viewers what was going on. That's what this video was doing. More videos coming soon.